Now here's another interesting phishing scam. It looks like a message came in the email from the Internal Revenue Service. Whoa, that's pretty important. However, they're telling you they want to get your information so that they can send you a refund on your Visa or MasterCard. So they're going to ask you for your Social Security number, debit or credit card number, and other personal information. Don't do it. In this particular case, the Internal Revenue Service would not send you an email. Number two, the Internal Revenue Service would not ask you for your Social Security number. They have it, and they have all your other personal information. This is another phishing scam. Now, the next 3 slides are examples of that ransomware that I mentioned earlier. You'll notice in this one, it's from the FBI. I kind of doubt it. They want money. FBI usually doesn't want your money. They may want other things, but not your money. What it says is, this screen will stay up on your computer, not allowing you to use your computer for anything. You shut off your computer and turn it back on, this pops right back up. They want you to go to one of these stores on the right-hand side of the page where you can buy MoneyPack, which is an electronic money transfer. You send it to their particular address. They'll email you a code to unlock your screen. Don't do it. Save your money. Instead, have a professional check your computer for this particular piece of malware. Let's take a look at slide number 2. Again, similar. Looks pretty important. Department of Justice. Again, it's the same scam. Number 3. Another FBI. These are called ransomware because, in particular, they will lock your screen. There are ways to remove these. Unfortunately, it's very technical and requires a lot of expertise and software to do it. This is not something you're going to be able to do. What that TV commercial says, wow, use my software and you'll be able to have computer problems all solved. You'll be able to get rid of all your viruses. That may be true at the time they're selling it. But what happens when you have one of these where they lock your screen, or better yet, encrypt your files? There's no way you can get to that software. You're stuck. And invariably, if your data is that critical to you, and if it is encrypted, you better have a backup. Now here's a screen of a Trojan virus. This is showing lots of viruses with a red shield. This software screen is one of those false antivirus software. What it's doing is it's telling you have viruses on your computer and you need to remove them. And to do that, you must download our software and pay us our money. This is a virus. In worst case, it could be a Trojan, turning your computer into something else. You should not click on any program to install on your computer unless you can verify the authenticity of that software. That's not easy to do sometimes. Now here's an example again of another one, Windows Armor Master. This is a software that has been downloaded to your computer without your knowing about it. It pops up, does a scan, tells you have all kinds of problems with your computer, and you must fix the errors. And the only way to fix the errors, of course, is to send them money. If you don't send them money, they don't fix it. They'll keep popping up and just being a nuisance. But it is a virus, and you don't know what else it's doing. Now, in this particular screen, this is where we get those probably unwanted programs. The program itself can do what you see here, throwing up a lot of pop-up screens. In this case, it's called a pop-up storm. It just sends up numerous screens, and usually you can't shut them all down. That's a problem. You're not going to be able to use your computer. Can you get rid of these? Yes. We'll tell you how shortly. Again, more of those possibly unwanted programs. This is a real bugaboo of mine. This is a browser, Internet Explorer. Almost 40% of the screen is toolbars. From the very top where it says Norton all the way down to the bottom where it's Google. This is the browser window that you're going to look at. You really should not have any up here. Where'd they come from? Believe it or not, most of them come from reputable companies who want you to download or need to download certain software, and you don't read what you're clicking on. If you just click next, 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 you may have just installed some of these toolbars or scanners in your computer. Are they detrimental? Technically, no. But as you can see, if you really want to browse the internet, you're going to be browsing the internet with about 60% of the screen that you really should have. Now keep this in mind, because on the next slide we're going to show you how these toolbars, in one case, are put onto the computer. This is really uncalled for. In the case of Windows, many programs use a program called Java. Now Java is a software platform that is produced by Oracle Corporation. This is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. And Java is free. So when you click on Java, which you can, one of the things it will try to do is get it to install a toolbar or some other unwanted program. As you're going along through the installation, you don't want to click on next, next, next. Because if you do, you're liable to miss this. Install Yahoo Toolbar. Now this is not a bad thing, it's just you don't need it. And if you add many more to this, in fact, you get that screen that we just saw. As you're going through the installation process, if you see this, these companies, this is how they get a little extra money, by the way, they will check the box for you. You have to opt out of it, not opt in. That I don't like. That's like the old book club. You join a book club, we'll send you a book every month. Whether you like it or not, you got to send it back. If you don't send it back, you bought the book. Well, that's the same way here, except that they add toolbars to it. So between each screen on the software that's being installed, check to see if there's an install any kind of toolbar or any kind of software not pertinent to what you're looking for. If not, uncheck the box. Make sure that you do. Then click next. That's important. Okay, what can I do to protect my computer and my network? The very first thing you can do in the case of Windows is make sure that the operating system is fully updated by Microsoft. And Microsoft does this periodically. This gets a little technical if you don't know how to do this. It should be done automatically, but it may not. The people who produce malware tend to take advantage of holes in the software, in this case the operating system. And Windows is patched to prevent that. Most all software is protected like that. So they keep doing their patches to make sure that they don't have those flaws exposed to the internet. Back up your data. I'm going to stress this a lot. Back up your data. If your data is not critical to you, then don't worry about it. You'll just reinstall Windows. Well, somebody will, and it could be expensive. At least if you have your data, you have to cross that bridge where you have to have the software reinstalled, at least you'll be able to get your data and retrieve it. Make sure your applications that you use are also updated. Things like Flash and Java. They are pretty much good programs, but they have faults. They have holes. They can be exploited. Whenever there's an update for these particular software programs, you must update them. If you're running Windows XP, it is advisable that you upgrade to either Windows 7 or currently Windows 8. Why? Windows XP at the end of 2013, the beginning of 2014, will no longer be supported by Microsoft. That means no security patches, no other type of patch. You'll be on your own. Use a modern antivirus software on your computer, especially in the case of Windows. Mac and Linux, these operating systems appear to be less on the radar screen of the malware writers, but they're also making their presence known as well. Where can you get this antivirus software? We'll be covering that in a later presentation as we do some of the how-tos. Microsoft Windows comes with one that you can install free called Security Essentials. However, there are a lot of good ones out there, including some that you do have to pay a subscription for. That doesn't make them bad, it just means that you have to pay some money for it. Use an anti-spyware software if you have it. Now, you can get this pretty much free, manually run them, and from there you can then purchase them if you wish so that they do it automatically for you. That'll get rid of a lot of those pop-up things that come up. Plus, it'll also pick up some viruses that maybe your your antivirus software will not pick up. Of course, do not connect your computer to the internet directly. Use a router or firewall. Well, most everyone does that. You have a internet service provider. They will give you access to the internet. They will also probably install a router in the access hardware, so you'll actually have a sort of like a hardware firewall to prevent access to your computer outside of the firewall, not inside once it's on your network. But there is a key. If you are using a router, a wireless router, sometimes called Wi-Fi, which is very, very nice to have in the house, make sure that it is encrypted and uses a strong password. Again, the supplier of the router should give you that information. Now, here's a screenshot of the security essentials I mentioned earlier. But first, we're going to be dealing with, this is a screenshot of Windows Update screen on Windows 7. This is what you would see if you were watching the update being done. If it's set up to be a manual update, of course, you would have to select the Install Updates. Here's a screenshot of Security Essentials by Microsoft. This is an antivirus software. It does not come pre-installed on your computer, except in the case of Windows 8. But if you have Windows XP or if you have Windows 7, this is a download. It is free. They do not put any of those checkboxes on there for you. One thing you should be aware of here, if you bought a computer and it has antivirus software on it, if it is a subscription-based software, which it probably is, and if you do not subscribe to it, it is not being updated. You might as well not have it on your computer. In that case, you should uninstall it and put on Microsoft Essentials. You don't want to have 2 or more antiviral software running at the same time on your computer. As we continue on of how you can protect your computer, oh, look, back up your valuable data. It's really important, folks. Back it up. If you don't know how, get someone to help you. Do not use your home or family computer for important business. That's easier said than done, especially if you have teenagers in the house. If you must, you should create non-administrative user accounts for each of the people on your computer. Make sure you are the administrator. Make sure you have the administrative password to the computer. Do not give it out to your wife or your children unless you really have to. And don't write it down. Do not install any software applications on your business computer or network that is not needed, such as file or music sharing software, or that is not useful in the business that you are doing. Review all the software pop-up boxes during the installation. Just don't click Next. We already discussed that. In the address bar of your browser, look for https:// and look for the little lock. This tells you that your link between your computer and the software, and the website that you're trying to contact is secured and encrypted. That's important. Do not surf the net to places unknown on a business or home computer. Boy, that's a pretty broad statement. And how do you know if it's places unknown? Well, you may not know, or you may have mistyped it. There's a website, a rather good website, that allows you to get plugins, that is software that you can plug into your browser, and it will check the websites for you. It's not 100% bulletproof, but boy, it's pretty good. That's Web of Trust. Go there and get it. We'll have links for all of these software places and antivirus software at the end of this presentation.